Well, 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 it's time to talk spoilers for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I've been it's been a couple of days since I've seen the movie. I've had some time to marinate on it, and I think I've come to the conclusion that I like it more than Into the Spider-Verse. I think that the themes of the movie are a bit more, they have a bit more weight to it, the themes of loneliness and forging your own path uh and all that. I just feel like the themes have a bit more weight in Across the Spider Verse. Not that Into the Spider Verse was bad or anything. Don't get me wrong; they're both really great. But yeah, I think I prefer Across the Spider Verse a little bit more. Um, but yeah, okay. I think I gave you enough time to click off the video. Leave if you haven't seen Across the Spider Verse. I'm about to talk about the way that it opens. In three, two, one. Yeah. So it opens with Gwen and they really go into detail about her like origin story and whatnot and how she ends up into the Spider Society. And I have to say, I was pretty enthralled by her sequence. First of all, the art style of her dimension I thought to be like really quite gorgeous. Really loved that. And seeing seeing just how emotional her backstory is with her estranged relationship with her dad and her failure to save Peter Parker, or actually like her kind of murder of Peter Parker, or those accidental murder. But either way, it was really sad, really well done, really emotional. Like the fact that her dad straight up betrays her and is about to arrest her. Really dark. I don't know, something about a parent betraying a child. It's just that kind of stuff is just really hits me. Um, but yeah, and then we get into Miles, and much like Gwen, I was really surprised at how much time they devoted to developing Miles's relationship with like his dad and his mom. I I really loved seeing that because I was kind of coming into the movie expecting it to just be really I expected there to just be a lot happening with multiverse nonsense and whatnot. But yeah, seeing them dedicate as much time as they did to these very personal and grounded relationships, I really loved. And then yeah, then I also just loved seeing Miles be a more fleshed out Spider-Man, like a more confident Spider-Man, um, and a more competent Spider-Man. I thought it was really cool. I thought his initial fight with the Spot was really fun. Seeing him having to balance like being Spider-Man and you know uh, going to his classes and having to lie to his parents, like all of that was very classic Spider-Man stuff, and it was really well done and really enjoyable. Um, and yeah, and then we get into the more Spider-Versey aspects of it. I thought that stuff was really cool as well. I thought that they did a good job of doing a bunch of fan service. Don't get me wrong, right? There's a bunch of like Spectacular Spider-Man and Spider-Man PS4 showing up and Ben Riley and like even Donald Glover in live action. um, so like a bunch of fan service stuff that was fun, but even then, I actually did think added to the overall narrative, right? I actually do think that all of the Spider people, like as fan servicey as it was, I think all of them being a part of this sort of like very dark conspiracy of like just letting people die for the sake of keeping the multiverse in control. I thought that whole sort of conspiracy, like having all of these characters sort of in on it, um and the large extent of characters in on it, I actually thought added to the weight of it all, if that makes any sense, right? And sort of that deconstruction of the Spider-Man mythos was really well done. um and yeah, and I also really liked how they almost like it almost felt like a response to like the people that don't like Miles Morales and will like snarkily be like, "Oh, Peter Parker is Spider-Man, Miles Morales is Miles Morales." I don't know if you've seen any of those like snarky comments or whatever. Yeah, I felt like them their that whole storyline of Miles Morales being kind of a mistake and whatnot, and him sort of stealing the spider bite from another dimension, and him not supposed to have gotten bit, and him getting his Spider-Man killed, and all of that, and him essentially being a mistake, but then him sort of like forging his own path and becoming a Spider-Man and all of that. I don't know. I thought that was a really cool, or at least interesting response to sort of that criticism, or at least that's what it felt like. Maybe I'm reading too deep into it. But yeah, I thought all of that was really great. And by the way, speaking of that spider, kind of a mind-blowing thing. If you go back and watch Into the Spider-Verse, and I never noticed this, I've never seen anybody point this out, but if you go back and you watch Into the Spider-Verse, you can see the spider that bites him, it glitches. Like, I always saw that as like a artistic like design choice or whatever, or just like artistic flair, but the spider glitches just like we see Peter B. Parker and, you know, all the other spider people glitch because they're in the wrong dimension. The spider glitches the exact same way. So it's like if I weren't an idiot, I could have potentially like you could come to the conclusion that the spider isn't from this universe just by watching Into the Spider-Verse. Like, somebody could have potentially made that theory or whatever. And that's really cool that they were like pretty clearly setting the groundwork for that in this movie. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then yeah, man, when you just get into sort of the final stages of the film, and you know, we see Miles being defiant, right? Him realize, sort of coming to the conclusion that they're wildin' for letting people die when they could potentially save them, and not finding another solution to the whole multiverse collapsing or whatever. Yeah, like once that starts, once he realizes that Gwen and Peter B. Parker and pretty much everybody and a lot of people were kind of like in on the conspiracy or whatever to get him to slowly agree to his dad being killed and whatnot. Like that slow unraveling of the facade of the whole situation. Once that started happening, pretty much all the way to the very end of the movie, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, the movie does a really great job of creating tension, and it's just not something that I would have necessarily expected from this movie, but it was really, really well done. And yeah, and you know, I have to say, you know, I think that unlike Dune, and I'm sorry that I keep on poo-pooing on Dune. I don't want to anger that fan base, but it's just the clearest example that I can think of a movie that is very much a part one, but not a satisfying part one. I think that Across the Spider-Verse actually develops characters and it explores themes in a way that actually feels complete and still leaves me satisfied by the end of it. You know, it's like to me, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is like a really solid like first episode, whereas Dune, it felt like the first episode got cut off in a weird moment. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really great. The art style is obviously like it's absolutely stunning. I mean, like, one of the best animated movies I've ever seen, one of the best looking movies just in general that I've ever seen. And it's just an absolute like triumph of filmmaking. I mean, it really truly is. So yeah, obviously if I don't know if you've for some reason watched this review without watching the movie, then I recommend watching the movie. And I invite you to let me know what you thought of the movie yourself in the comments down below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.